I took the bus to school every day. Not the yellow school bus, the regular city bus. My school was really small and there wasn't any official bus service. This was back when I was in the 10th grade, and I only attended that school for 1 year. But that 1 year was packed with stories that I'll share with you another time. The school was kind of in the hood. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and honestly, I always felt comfortable there. Still, it was known as a rough area, and some of those students were a little rough around the edges for sure. But the fact that the school was in the hood is not the backdrop for this story, which is something that happened one day after school while waiting for the bus. Even though I was only at that school for 1 year, I became very close with two students, Yasmin and Daniela. The three of us were thick as thieves. Funny enough, when I first arrived, I was always to myself. But one day, they came over and introduced themselves. We didn't have a cafeteria or a lunchroom, so we ate at our desk. That day at lunch, they just walked up to me and said hello, and sat at the desks next to me. Even though we'd already seen each other in a few classes, the school was so small, everyone had. Yasmin said when she first saw me, I seemed stuck up and I sneezed funny. Daniela said I seemed too classy, like I thought I was too good for everybody. But they said that there was something about me that was real, and that they saw how nice I really was. That even though I looked stuck up, that is nothing like the way I really was. I just looked that way. We all hit it off almost immediately, and from then on, it was the three of us. Both girls were cute and definitely street. Yasmin was tall and thin with short hair. She was a spicy one for sure. Loud, bold, full of energy, and not afraid of anything. Daniela was shorter, like me. She was funny, but had this somber, slightly quirky side that made her really interesting. I loved our conversations. They rode the same bus too, so every morning when I got on at my stop, they were already on the bus. It was a comfort to see them because you never know what could happen on a bus ride with a lot of high school students heading towards the hood. And after school, we took the same bus home together. That was our routine. The school itself had maybe 400 students, but it was right next to a much, much larger junior high. We all shared that same bus stop, which was just a short walk from the school gates. There were no benches, just a low brick wall that ran from the school's gate to the corner. That wall was where everyone would sit as they waited for the bus. One afternoon, just like any other, the three of us headed out to the bus stop after school. We were laughing and dancing the way we always did. We used to make up dances and little silly songs and raps. We had whole routines. I can still remember some of the lyrics and some of the dance moves now. That day was no different. We were dancing, laughing, as we were making up some more dance steps. When we first got out to the bus stop, we started out standing at the end of the brick wall, which is closest to the school. But as we danced and we were moving around, we made our way towards the other end of the brick wall, which was about 15 feet down from where we were, dancing and laughing. And then, just a few seconds after we moved down the wall, a car driving down the street lost control, came up over the sidewalk, and crashed into the brick wall right at the exact spot we had just been standing. For a moment we froze. Daniela let out a light scream. Yasmin stood there in shock. Her eyes were so wide. I felt my knees get weak, and a cold feeling ran all up my body. "We were just standing right there," Daniela said. Yasmin looked like she was about to cry, and she was so tough. I could see her trying to hold it in, but the fear was written all over her face. Just moments earlier, we were carefree and singing and dancing, and suddenly, we were just feet from a car accident. Stunned, shocked, and silent. Yasmin wrapped her arms around us. We all hugged, and through the water in her eyes, she said, "I love you, girls." We said a little prayer, thanking God that we were okay. This happened a long time ago. It was in the 80s. But when I think about Yasmin and Daniela, I still feel a love for them. They were real friends, the kind who had your back without question. That phrase, ride or die, wasn't even a thing back then. But that's what they were, my ride or die girls. That year was the first time I ever experienced that kind of friendship. Maybe it had something to do with going to school in that neighborhood where you had to stick together. But they were genuine. They were honest. They were funny and kind and spoke up for you and would defend you. That's what they did for me. That's what we did for each other. And even though I was a little different than they were, they always supported me. We cared about each other in that way that only best friends can. That day, standing at the bus stop, seeing that man's car crash just feet from me, was a day in my life that I will never forget. Not just because we were so close to tragedy, but because it made me see, even then, how fortunate I was to have them for friends. I don't even think Yasmin and Daniela know the impact they had on me. After that school year, I left, and we eventually lost touch. We went to different schools and lived different lives, but they still hold a special place in my heart. I will never forget the moment at that bus stop, and I will never forget those girls. To this day, I hate to think what might have happened if we hadn't moved from that spot just seconds before. It gives me chills. We could have been seriously injured or much, much worse. When you're young, especially during those high school years, you think you're invincible. Tragic accidents feel like something so far away that don't happen to you. It's only when you get older that you realize how fragile life really is. But in that moment, we knew. And I understood that on that day, at that bus stop, it wasn't our time.